Good morning. This is the JP Dinnell podcast, YouTube exclusive with myself, JP, Dinnell, and Lucas. What's up, buddy?
What's going on?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm still loving the Mike Mitchell wave. I haven't gotten tired of it yet, so I'm gonna keep it up until further notice.
I like it. All right.
Yeah. Speaking of, did you follow up with him after y'all's camping trip, and then he did his half Ironman?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He told me that like a ton of people didn't finish, but that there was one
Because
point.
of the heat.
Yeah, because the heat was insane. Because they were in Waco.
Yeah.
Doing it. But he said there was one point where he was running where there was a bridge, and he was like, I'm going off the bridge. I'm done with this. I'm gonna end this Ironman early.
Yeah.
So I told him I appreciated that he didn't do that.
Yeah, I saw him last night at church, and we were at Milestone Elevate for Wednesday Night Youth, and it was. Anyways, we were talking. I was like, "Hey, man, how are you feeling?" He's like, "I am still so sore."
No doubt.
But I mean, he did great. Like I think it was either in his age or overall. I can't remember, but he was in 8th place for the swim.
Yeah, nice.
20th for the bike.
That's not bad.
No, and he said the run is just what killed him. He's like, but he also
the swim is what would kill me, and I don't mean figuratively. I mean I would drown.
Legitimately,
yeah. I'd be done. One thing would touch my foot, and I'd be like, "Nope, this is it. I'm going under. The Kraken's got me.
Take me home, Jesus." No, but he said he hadn't run that long of a distance since the last one that he did in Galveston. I just started laughing.
Man.
I'm like, "Bro, that's horrible."
Brutal.
So, all good. Yeah, he's doing well. He's sore. He was like, "Hey, man, there's a Ironman sprint this weekend in Keller," and I'm like, "Cool, you doing it?" He goes, "No, you should." I'm like, "I'll do it if you do it." He goes, "Well, I'm not doing it." I'm like, "Oh, well,
there you go."
Oh, too bad. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine me flying back from Alaska on the red eye and then just going straight and attempting to do an Ironman sprint?
Yes, I could imagine that, because this is not outside the realm of something that you would do you would take it as a personal challenge. Be like, you know what? I'm going to try this.
Don't personally challenge me on
I'm
this
not
because
personally.
I don't have
I'm
the
not.
desire.
I know you don't, but I also, if we came in to record and you were like, "Hey, I did this Ironman sprint," I'd be like, "Yeah, that checks out. Are you fine?"
Like, no, I got rhabdo
again. Okay, well, cool.
Oh man!
Yeah,
all right,
at least we know what the treatment is for that. But so we talked a lot about routine on the last one, which I thought was really interesting. That came out of one of our more recent episodes, and talking about like mental processes and those types of things. And then we hit a little bit on like developing culture around extreme ownership. Mm-hmm. And then we got into the JP. What's your extreme ownership example from the battlefield? Yeah, which was really cool. I want to kind of keep going in that vein. Like, I want to know what's your cover and move story. What's the JP cover and move story that like sticks out to you?
Yeah, so the story that sticks out to me is when we got to Ramadi, our leadership, which was Jocko, Leif, and Seth, going...
I believe it's pronounced Leaf.
Jocko and Leif? No, Jocko Willing, Leif Babin, Seth Stone, was watching them go to the Army and Marine Corps leadership and instantly start building relationships with them.
Right.
Like, day one, in country, hey, what can we do to help you guys? And when we got there as a task unit, the first thing that we did as a task unit is we went to a memorial service for, I believe it was like 13 Marines that had been ambushed and murdered.
I've heard about this. Yeah.
And so we didn't know that unit at all, but we all showed up in our dress uniform. I mean, not obviously your dress blue uniform, but our uniforms, like squared away, starched, ironed, like, and we showed up to support these soldiers and Marines right away.
Yeah.
Just because, guess what? They're Marines and they're soldiers. They're part of the U.S. military.
Right.
And that was a very good example that our leadership said of like, hey, one team, one fight. Like, we legitimately didn't know anybody from those units, but they had just been killed. The morale was low, rightfully so. Leadership was discouraged, rightfully so. And it's not like our presence changed anything in regards to the morale and them being frustrated, but it was just a sign of like, hey, we're here to help you. And then when we had the first opportunity to go out on a mission and we killed a bunch of enemy fighters because we started hunting these enemy fighters down, it was the opening of the door to build a relationship for these soldiers and Marines.
Yeah.
And it was just a good example of like, hey, you do the right things for the right reasons. And while we didn't have a relationship established with these soldiers and these Marines, it was on us. It wasn't on them to come build a relationship with us. Now they would have, but our leadership recognized it's actually not on them. It's on us. And these soldiers and Marines were so incredibly brave. So incredibly brave. They had been in country every single day for 14 months. They had been in combat every single day for 14 months. Not just a combat zone, but actual combat every single day for 14 months. And so we knew that we had a lot to learn from them. We had just a lot to be able to, to do in regards to building relationships and figuring out, hey, how are these guys being efficient and effective on the battlefield? And then what could we do to support them? So that was a cool little at the very beginning. And I mean, if I was to think about it, that whole deployment, like every day there's a cover move story from it.
Yeah.
I remember one day I was like outside of our building. We called it Full Metal Jacket. This building on Camp Corregidor that we lived at, and I was just walking outside. I can't remember what I was doing, but I was walking outside, and one of the soldiers that lived in the building that we lived in was outside working on one of the Bradley fighting vehicles, like doing maintenance. And I just asked him like what he was doing, and he like told me. I'm like, oh cool, my man. Do you need any help? He goes, what? And he was like really confused. I'm like, yeah. Do you need any help? Like, do you need help doing this stuff? Like, I can help. I was like, hey man, I know how to like work on a 50 cal. Like I can do the maintenance on the 50 cal while you do this other stuff. And he was completely thrown off by that. He goes, he's like, you don't need to do that. He's like, this is my job. So, he's some like E4 private that had been told to go do it in the hottest part of the day. And I was like, no, man. I was like, dude, you guys go out with us. You guys bring us out on these operations. I can help like do the maintenance of 50. Like I know how to rock a 50 cal, bro.
Right.
Like I can do the maintenance on it and clean it. And so I was doing the maintenance and, cleaning, like just helping them out with like the different weapon systems that they had, and just kind of learning about like the maintenance of the Bradley fighting vehicle. I'm like, hey, how do you drive these things? And so it was just a cool just like sitting there, just being able to talk with the soldier. And then another one came out to help him work, and he was totally thrown off by me being there too. He thought they were getting in trouble, that the kid was doing something wrong, and I came out there and I was just just talking with these guys, and it's like, hey, these soldiers are going out there and risking their lives every single day to get us out on operations, to take us back from operations. They're doing operations themselves. Like, why would I not want to have a good relationship with these guys? Why would I not help provide maintenance and or support to a vehicle that comes and picks us up sometimes?
Yeah.
So anyways,
something that is necessary for you guys to do your jobs. And that is one of the interesting aspects I think about cover and move that some people don't think about, is that it has to work interdepartmentally, right? That it's not just like cover and move with your team.
Yeah.
Because it's
easy. That's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's totally fine. But if I have to do it with another department or with another part of the organization or with an organization that's partnered with us, then that's not really my responsibility.
That creeps in real quick. Yep. The whole, well, that's not my responsibility. That's not my job. Your ego gets in the way because it's another department.
More than anything else, that's not my job.
I know we've talked about it before, but a t-shirt that makes me instantly furious. I've seen it a few times when I read it. I just get I'm just like, It says, "Don't rush me. I get paid by the hour."
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the same mindset of somebody who's going to say, "Well, that's not my job."
Yeah,
that's not my responsibility. Those are also the same people that leave the grocery carts in parking spots and don't walk and put them back where they're supposed to go. So there's that.
Nice. Okay. Next question. How true to size does the new Origin Mock Toe boot fit?
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, they're perfect. Out of the box, I wear a 10.5. Got a 10.5. They fit perfect. I've been wearing them all the time for travel. I wore them at an FTX recently. So
nice.
Like classroom all day, FTX classroom, incredibly comfortable, bro. It was unreal.
They do look sharp.
Yeah. Well, so I'm a little bummed.
Okay.
Because the sole got really dirty at the FTX.
Yeah.
And it's not like one of those soles that you can really clean. And now maybe if I got one of those like magic eraser things for it, I could probably clean it up. So if you're going to use it as a work boot, it's going to stay dirty like a work boot, which is fine for FTXs. The problem for me is I float between
working and being pretty
and being presentable in a classroom. And so now I cleaned it up and it was
presentable. Okay.
It was presentable-ish, but it wasn't as clean as I wanted it to be because I'm OCD about that. And so,
hold on, are you trying to tell me that a Navy guy is OCD about how his boots look?
Yeah.
I'm stunned by this information.
Yeah, especially a guy that went through BUD/S that had inspections all the time.
Right.
Yeah. If your boots weren't like a mirror, you went and sat in the surf zone.
We've got a guy that is, he's former Navy and then was a state trooper up in the Northwest and he's a member of our church.
So do you guys use his boots as mirrors?
Oh my, they're incredible. And I was talking to him about it. I was like, dude, how do you do this? He was, so he talks about like the polishing and all that stuff. He goes, with my favorite pair of boots, he goes, he has re-waxed his boots on several of occasions. Gone through the whole process to learn how to do that. As the guy that made this table, actually. Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm really shocked right now.
Attention to detail is just phenomenal. But yeah, that often, because my boots are not to that standard.
Well, you also...
They're presentable. But they're not
you're
to that
also
standard.
A motorcycle rider, worked at Harley, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so that's kind of...
I got a little bit more of
that's your DNA
rough,
in you.
Yeah. But no, his stuff is always immaculate. So, yep. When I get that new pair of wingtips that I got on the Christmas list, they're going to Steve first and be like, "Hey, fix these." So, right on, man.
Cool.
Yep. So we'll do
one
more from the YouTubes. You put out a video. We'll see if this is a quick one. You put out a video that Echelon Front shared where you were saying the names of. Some fallen SEALs.
Brennan Looney, Ryan Job, Mikey Mansour, Seth Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the month of September.
Right. Yeah. Because those were all teammates that y'all lost in September?
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah. Brennan Looney was September 21st. Ryan Job was September 24th. Mikey Mansour was September 29th. Seth Stone was September 30th.
These are different years, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It wasn't just like 1 month. It was just...
Yeah, Brennan Looney, I believe... I'd have to check that year. I'm drawing a complete blank on that. Mm-hmm. But Mikey Mansour was 2006. Ryan Job was wounded in Ramadi on August 2nd, 2006. And he passed away September 24th, 2009.
Yeah, after so many operations.
Yeah, it was actually after his 22nd operation. He died due to medical... like they killed him after surgery.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Malpractice?
Yeah.
Yeah, yikes.
Yeah.
Man. So the question is, this is obviously September's a big month for you guys. Is it...
Brennan Looney was September 21st, 2010.
Okay. So sometime in between there. Is this something that for you, like, does it get easier as time goes on, or
I think it stays this? Well,
yeah. Or I was gonna say, or is it at a place where you're like, this is what it's always going to be?
Yeah. It's always going to be like that. Like at the beginning, it was obviously super hard. August is a hard month too because Mark Lee, August 2nd, and then the Extortion 17. Helicopter crash.
Which I don't think a lot of people know that.
We lost 31 Americans.
Well, that there were a lot of people that y'all were connected to that were a part of that.
Oh yeah, it was a troop from Gold Squadron.
Yeah,
the whole troop was on that. My best friend, my roommate was on there. Aaron Vaughn was on there, who's one of my best friends. Derek Benson, who is my roommate for years and one of my best friends, was on there. JT, another one of my very close friends in the SEAL teams, was there. And the other guys in SEAL teams that I knew, that I look up to, that that I had worked with before and had, it's just crazy. So yeah, August is always a hard month. And then, there's just hard months throughout the year, like in June when, Brad Kavner passed away. He passed away on June 23rd, which is the day before Aaron Vaughn's birthday, which is June 24th. So those 2 days, we just had, on October 3rd was Derek Benson's birthday, who is my best friend and roommate, who was on Extortion 17. So there's a lot of, reminders throughout the year. September, is a big one because of Brendan Looney, Ryan Jobe, Mikey, and Seth. And Seth's birthday is September 17th, and he passed away September 30th. So there's just a lot. I don't think it gets easier. I think it's at a point now where it's like, okay, this is what it is. And, the other part is like, you have to understand that pain and those memories will never go away. That's part of life. That's part of us having emotions and love and compassion for people. That's what makes us humans, and that's what makes us, be able to build those really good relationships. And, I'm thankful for those feelings, because had I not had those feelings, I wouldn't have been close to those guys. I wouldn't have been close to Mikey Mansour. I wouldn't have considered Seth Stone my legitimate big brother in life. Derek Benson wouldn't have been my best friend. Aaron Vaughn wouldn't have been one of my best friends had I not had those connections and that love and that friendship and compassion for those people. And when you have those feelings for people and they're no longer with us, it's going to hurt, because there's now a void. Because here's the deal, I can't express those feelings for those people anymore. I can't call them. I have all their numbers still saved in my phone, and I make sure those transfer over every time I get a new phone.
Yeah.
But I can't call Derek on his birthday. Like, I can't call Aaron. There's times where I'll think of something and I find myself going to grab my phone to call Seth or text Seth. Still. I'm just like, all right, check, can't do that, So I'll send Jocko the text message and Leif the text message instead sometimes, or sometimes I won't even send it to them. I just reach out to them, or I'll reach out to Cody or Danny, there's a handful of my friends that I'll reach out to that I know that they understand what it's like, and it's just part of life. Is experiencing loss, and when you're in that type of a career or job, right? It wasn't a career. I didn't retire, but for me, it was everything when I did it. There's going to be loss. You're going to lose teammates. You're going to lose friends, most likely. Now, there are some guys that never lost anybody close to them in SEAL teams, and they're very fortunate.
Yeah, no kidding.
But then I also feel like they're not fortunate, because they would have been fortunate to be close to those guys that I was close to, because their lives would have been better. And so that's a double-edged sword. It's like, hey, you didn't lose your best friend, but man, he wasn't your best friend.
Yeah.
That sucks. So I don't know. I think the thing that makes it workable and doable, and to where you don't fall in this downward spiral, is you have to understand that you should be striving to live your life to honor them. And so, are you living your life to honor them? Do you share their stories? Because they're not gone if you're still talking about them.
Right.
If you're saying their names and sharing their stories and passing on lessons that you learn from those guys, I think that's the greatest way that you can honor them, is say, hey, this is what this person meant to me. Here's the lessons I learned from them, and then you live your life to honor them. Yeah. Now, you don't have to be like, hey, this is what I'm doing to honor Seth, because I think that kind of takes away from it. But, there's some people that do that, and that's fine. Mama Lee is a great example. She lost her son, Mark Lee, and Debbie lives her life every single day to honor her son and all the teammates and everybody in our community, and now veterans just as a whole. She has dedicated her life to honoring and supporting and taking care of veterans and their families.
Yeah,
so
she's incredible, man.
And I think she sets a great example of what we could all be doing, because I'll tell you what, if I was to lose a child, you might not see me for a while.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I don't know.
And it's cool too to see how like in y'all's community those things live on. Like one of the things I was considering getting you was the Brad Kavner signature blade from Half Face Blades, and you know you've got them.
Well,
already,
Leif got
right?
it for me. Yeah.
But one of the things that's cool about that in particular is not only are the folks over at Half Face continuing his legacy by like having a knife that's named after him, but 10% of all the profits go to a charity of his family's choosing.
It's awesome, man.
Which is so cool in a way for all of the legacies of those heroes.
Yeah,
to live on, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's dealing with loss is something that I think a lot of us. That everybody experiences, right? Loss is as big a part of life as breathing is.
Yeah.
But, you know, how we choose to remember those and the sacrifice that they gave, especially our servicemen and women, is a really important thing, dude.
Yeah,
So I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's all I got, man.
All right. Well, I know this has been short and quick, but we want to have these to be a little bit shorter so they're easier to digest throughout your week. You can listen to them. You can share them with people. You can post them on social media if you find value from these. So we appreciate you guys. We thank every single one of you that are subscribed, all of you that are listening, sharing it, commenting. It helps grow the podcast. And if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So thank you for the support. This has been the JP Dinnell Podcast, YouTube exclusive.